Breeding your own fish can be great fun. So in this video I want to discuss 4 simple ways that I've used to breed fish in my ponds. If you don't already know me, my name is Kev, and the aim of my channel is to help people build and maintain ponds without spending a fortune. If that sounds like something that interests you, you might like to subscribe and visit my website ozponds.com. The first method is the lazy way. Make sure the pond has lots of plants and feed the fish lots, especially during times of the year where they naturally spawn. A lot of fish spawn in warmer weather or at the promise of warmer weather, such as spring. I like to really crush up the food into a fine powder. This provides edible food for the babies, but it also signals to the adults that there's plenty of food for their fry, so now is a good time to breed. The plant cover provides a refuge for the fry, and the abundance of food stops the parents from eating the eggs and offspring. When the fry are tiny like this, I like to feed twice a day. With this method, you want to have a good filter and some snails and shrimp to clean up the excess food. Over time, you'll probably need to remove some fish as the pond gets overcrowded. Sometimes I'm not comfortable leaving the babies in the main pond. That might be because I know that the parents always eat the babies, or it might be that I don't have a filter on the pond and I want to remove the babies so I can feed them lots without fouling up the pond. In that case, I collect up the little fish individually with my hands or a small shrimp net. Then I have a small tub set up like the main pond. Usually it's a very simple container with a dirted bottom and lots of plants, sand or pebble over the top. Recently I created a video, so I'll put a link to that in the description. Once again I feed them crushed up pellets, and I also in a cup or so of green water each day. There's plenty of videos on YouTube how to make green water, so I won't go into that here. Then we have lazy method number 2. This is probably the one that I use most often because I don't really need to do much at all. Basically, I'm just sitting around enjoying the pond, and when I see the fish running around chasing each other or doing funny little dances, darting in and out of plants, it's a good indicator that they're laying eggs. After witnessing this behaviour, I just go ahead and collect some of the plants that they were rubbing up against. I like to keep just a couple of tubs filled with water. Sometimes I'll throw a sponge filter in there, and then I just throw the plants in. 9 times out of 10, after a few weeks, you start to see lots of little fry. The next method is using spawning mops. A spawning mop is basically just a fake plant. There's plenty of videos on how to make them, so again I won't go into the details. The fish will lay their eggs in the mop, just like they did with the plants. Then you can remove the mop and place it in a bucket, or you can manually remove the eggs. Most fish eggs are tiny, and I find it quite tedious to remove the individual eggs, but you certainly have better success if you do. Sometimes with fish like rice fish, I just scoop up the female when I see her with her clutch of eggs and remove the cluster and place them straight into a bucket. I like to put the eggs or the mop into a bucket of green water. This gives the fry something to eat as soon as they hatch. The last method is selecting a male fish and a female, maybe 2, and putting them in a pond or container by themselves. Again, there's plenty of videos or resources on the web that will teach you how to sex different species of fish. But for this method, you'll want to set up a container so that it has all the elements that the fish like to spawn in. Some fish like to scatter the eggs in the substrate, some like to attach them to wood or plants, some give birth to live babies, and some are just good parents and take care of them. Although, if you're using this method, that likely isn't the case. When you're confident that the fish have spawned, you can remove the parents. Now you have a safe environment for the babies to grow up in. Well, semi-safe. Fish love eating each other, siblings especially, so have a filter and feed a lot if you want to keep the majority of the spawn alive. This is a method I notice playing out a lot in my dream pond. The fish will often spawn in the intake bay, then the eggs are sucked up through the pump and deposited into the bog filter. The bog filter is separate to the main pond, so the parents are separated from the fry. This always brings me delight, as I didn't need to do anything. The separate bog filter provided the fry with a hatchery of sorts. Separating the parents into separate containers isn't a method I've used very often, although currently my daughter and I are having a competition to see who can get their blue eyes to spawn first in a cheap Kmart fish tank. The winner will have the most fish at the end. So maybe removing the parents after the spawn might give me the edge. Anyway, that's 4 ways that you can breed fish in your pond. I hope it was helpful. If it was, feel free to tickle the thumbs up button. Thanks for watching. See ya.